from concept to design and inspiration boards to creating the floor plans and selecting the materials and finishes. It's all about understanding both the client and the end user and making sure that everything still feels cohesive and that it's all telling a story.
The process from concept to install when it comes to an interiors project at Industry West was really about kind of getting to know what the client's needs were and trying to understand what it is that you're trying to create, taking it and then just running with it from there.
Our team takes care of the staging, assembly, trash removal, storing in our warehouses across the country. And that's a huge advantage, I think, because we can work with them based off of when their project's going to be done.
Camellia World Commerce is a 210 luxury community in St. Augustine.
They came in and actually furnished all of our amenity, common space, outside around the pool, and also our models.
I had a project manager assigned to me. Her name is Brooke, and she has been amazing.
They came to us and wanted to hear about our Industry West Interiors program. We presented a full presentation from a start to finish concept that took all of the work away from them.
With her level of professionalism and after seeing her presentation, I just fell in love with the style as well as the products.
It was really easy to pick pieces with corner lot based off of the residents and what their day-to-day is going to be.
Who's going to be in that space every day doing life and making sure that those families, those individuals have the best space to do that and make their own memories.
Our pieces just really mesh really well with an active resident lifestyle. And of course, it's all backed by our amazing warranty, so we got them covered.
Industry West Interiors, I would definitely recommend them to businesses, to restaurants, to other developers.
They listen to you. Brooke has done such a great job with taking my feedback, bringing me back something that is beautiful, economical, and also functional.
Knowing that the product that they are actually designing and building and manufacturing themselves is going to come in to a warehouse and wait for us versus us waiting for them adds so much value to the development timeline.
Also, being able to go to the Industry West warehouse and get to sit on the furniture or get to touch the materials.
If we can deliver a project under budget and quicker than what we pro forma'd out, that is absolutely music to any developer's ears.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us. Welcome to a conversation about the growth of interior design services across the world, but primarily North America. Today, I'm joined by Sonny LeBron, who is an asset manager at Jacksonville, Florida-based corner lot development firm, and Brooke Dovey-Gay, senior project director at e-commerce furniture company Industry West. Sonny has more than 17 years of experience in the multifamily property management industry and has managed large projects across Florida, Georgia, and Texas. He's responsible for overseeing Jacksonville, Florida-based corner lots multifamily assets and their performance from concept and design to lease and long-term management. Brooke has more than 10 years of experience in the design and furniture industry. She's continually captivated by the way textures and furniture blend together to invigorate a space and leans on her strategic planning skill sets to share her vision with the clients. Brooke served an integral role in launching Industry West Interiors Department in 2022, and her unique approach to design and dynamic energy drives her to explore out-of-the-box solutions to serve the nuanced needs of each individual project. Brooke, Sonny, thanks for joining us.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, so excited. So we're going to take a couple minutes and walk through where we are in terms of interior design services across the world and the growth of the industry. And then Sonny, Brooke, you'll walk us through what you've created in Industry West and then your work with Sonny. And then we're just going to chat, have fun.
Awesome.
Nice.
So for the few people who are here listening with us, interior design in 2023, this is where we stand. Studies show the size of interior design services market range from 80 billion today to almost 130 billion, depending upon the study. And that market is expected to grow by 168 billion by 2028. North America is home to that largest market. Asia is the fastest growing market. And a lot of what's initiating that and instigating that growth is government initiatives for public infrastructure, construction projects, driving growth of the market. Investments in construction of smart cities, airports, commercial buildings are driving the demand for smart planning and technology, integrated interior design services. And we're getting back to the popularity of co-working offices that are expected to fuel demand for innovative interior design, which includes sustainable, wellness-focused designs, recreational activity areas, and advanced IT infrastructure. Brooke, you want to tell us a little about IW Interiors?
Yeah, so IW Interiors, we officially launched in the summer of 2022, but Industry West has been doing it for over a decade, but we decided let's go ahead and give it its own brand and feel. And so we work closely with any developers, interior designers all across the country. And we take a project from concept to install. That's kind of our tagline. And we have all different services, and you can do a la carte or have the whole package. So starting with our design work, space planning, we offer CAD services, our custom procurement of goods, our white glove installation, and then of course our final walkthrough with our client. And so the really cool thing about Interiors is that it's product from, Industry West being a furniture company, we do product really well. And so when a client comes to us and says, hey, we have custom cabanas, we need crazy hammocks, we have, all different kinds of things for different projects with various weather conditions, we have just created a way to package all of that together. And Industry West Interiors was born.
Awesome. Yeah, and why don't you guys talk just briefly about, what broke with the work we've done to date with Corner Lot?
Yeah, so Sunny is from Corner Lot, of course, and so we work very closely with Corner Lot on projects in Jacksonville, and now we're getting to expand to other places like Minnesota, which is very exciting. So we take a project with Corner Lot, we kind of get with Sunny, hear his vision for the project, see what Corner Lot's needs are ultimately for a multifamily project. And then we take a look at all of that and then spit out a mood board to him that we go through closely until we have a perfect design. And then from there, our job is to make it easy for Sunny and his team. So we want it to be a seamless process, and he just gets to show up, do the final walkthrough, and hopefully loves everything. And of course, he knows what's going on with the project, and we know what finishes are in there and all of that. But our job is for him to really show up with his team and have that full turnkey experience. And everything is backed by our warranty, of course. I think here's some pictures of our current projects going on with Corner Lot and with some other clients as well.
Awesome. So before we get started, anyone, the people who are watching live with us, there is a question section at the bottom right of your browser. If you have any questions, we will leave time for Sunny and Brooke to answer toward the end. And there's also a poll section. I put 2 questions up there if you want to chime in, and I'll probably add more polls as we continue to talk. So Sunny, let's start with you. You've managed properties across the country. So, I'm really interested to hear what trends have you seen in terms of companies offering broader interior design services and property groups like yourself wanting to take advantage of those services?
Well, the multifamily industry is constantly changing. The need for attractive amenities and valuable spaces for residents is also constantly changing. It's different today than it was 5 years ago. So having a one-stop shop is actually kind of great when it comes to what I do and what I work with Industry West. Like right now, we're with everyone that's working from home these days, we are programming some outdoor workstations. Some of them are poolside. Some of them are in lush tropical Zen gardens on the property. And it's taken some thought to try to figure out if we want to build it or if we want to outsource it. And, they've been giving me lots of cool options. But at the same time, we're also doing tranquility rooms with the hustle and bustle of our resident today. We've got tranquility rooms that are coming that's going to have aromatherapy and relaxation and massaging pods. So I honestly couldn't have done any of that without Brooke and her vision. But so, it's constantly trying to get what your customer needs and make our communities more valuable and more of the place to live than the communities right down the street.
Mm-hmm. So is that something, I guess, whoever wants to answer this, is that something both of you are seeing? Sonny, you mentioned, poolside workstations. So we're really in this day and age more so than ever of it doesn't matter where you're working from as long as you're working. So a lot of these interiors projects, are you finding, have to be multi-use in terms of personal and somewhere you can work?
I think so. I think that, in these particular outdoor workstations that we're doing, they have all the ease and access of being able to plug in to an electric source. There is ceiling fans up that will keep them cool even though they're outside. But it also gives you the ability to be by the pool. And if you want to work, you can. And if you don't want to work, you can play.
Mm-hmm. And I'll note too, for the clubhouses, which I think is such a special touch for all of these multifamily projects, the clubhouse is one of the first things that a future resident sees when they walk in. So we really put an emphasis on making sure that it has something for everyone, whether it's a family coming in for a tour or a couple that's retired, or you have some students possibly. So we have really taken, I think, a focus on making sure that there are stations that are functional when it comes to is a plug right near where we're putting a chair with a table that's functional for laptop work and all of that. Simple things that I think sometimes can get forgotten about. And we want to make sure that a resident can really picture their needs right when they walk in.
How do we make sure our iPhones don't overheat while at the pool while we're working?
We're working on that.
All right, cool, perfect. So, Brooke, in your role with Industry West, what are you seeing in terms of the demand for the services, for the interior design services? Are you seeing those, as we mentioned in the slides? I mean, the vertical and the interior design industry itself is growing in terms of the demand. Are we seeing that, in the Southeast and across North America? Are you seeing that?
Yeah, absolutely. The demand is there, and we're working to meet that. And I think that one of the special things about services that we're offering is that we're offering all of it. So we have a really good competitive advantage that we have warehouses all across the country, and specifically huge distribution centers in Jacksonville, Florida, where our headquarters is at. So we're able to kind of gather all of that product for a client, and they don't have to worry about construction delays and having something change last minute. It's all here. So we have everything. And when they're ready to have an install, then we're ready to have an install. I do think that is something that we're seeing just kind of be a boom and a success when working with clients as well.
I actually feel kind of spoiled because there's such a big warehouse here, and I get invited to go there and sit on the products and touch them and see their actual color than versus seeing it in a picture. And so that's always fun. I'm like, field trip.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you're working by the pool, so you were spoiled. No, Sonny, I mean, my next question was going to be do clients even know what they need? I imagine a lot of clients come into this not even knowing, Brooke, that they need that warehousing and that they need that, what if construction is delayed and we don't have anywhere to put this furniture or these other pieces, custom pieces that are inbound? Sonny, is that something you even really kind of knew you needed initially?
I mean, it's construction. It's, so construction delays are imminent. And thankfully, they have that warehouse so they can keep it just a little bit longer. But yeah, I feel like I didn't know what I needed when I came into this, honestly. And then having all of these really cool perks, like the warehouse being so close, one of their team members, Ivan, who I adore, is a genius in CAD. So he's, several times has said, Sonny, I don't think that many loungers are going to fit in that pool. So I don't know. I feel spoiled.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. Just a reminder for everyone, we do have the question section. I did see one question in chat that we'll get to in a bit, but if there are any other questions, feel free to put them on. So let's talk specifically about Industry West and Corner Lot. And I mean, and it doesn't just have to be this project, but just in general from your guys' expertise across different projects. Like, how do you begin? Like, where does it start? Where do you start from?
Yeah, it starts from, whether Sunny's coming to our HQ, or of course we do a lot of stuff virtually. So we'll kind of first have a consultation and see like what information does Sunny have for us to first go on? Are there floor plans? Is there finished like textures, finishes, light fixtures, all of that, like what's picked out, what's done. And then we're able to start filling the gaps from there and see what we can help with. We start just kind of how every designer, I think it's like, what are your buzzwords? What's inspiration? If Sunny has pictures from Pinterest of something that he saw that he's like, I really want to recreate this in Jacksonville or in Minnesota, then we can take that and see also what is in that area. Like, what are the competitors? What are they doing? We want to make sure that the project is unique. We also take into consideration, of course, the climate. So something that's coastal and something that's inland versus Minnesota, of course, like that's a huge factor right in the beginning for textures and finishes. So we kind of take all of that and then start presenting mood boards. And then the flow with like Sunny and Corner Lot will typically start with like, let's get the clubhouse done, because that's, from a construction standpoint, that's what's going to be done first, and leasing agents are going to be in there, and we kind of work that system, if you will, all the way until we're done with something like a model unit. Kind of start checking the boxes, but it's fun. It's like it's multiple meetings, but I think it's we do it in a way that Sunny can walk away knowing exactly like what he's going to walk into in a year from then, which is pretty crazy. Like, we're talking projects in 2026 right now, so. Yeah, we really just start from that mood board process and see what the client wants. What do they need?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of times when I go there too, she's got samples laid out on a table, and I get to pick and choose like what feels better, what looks better, and then we have happy hour
by the pool, right? Yeah. Talk about like. Brooke, talk about check-in process though, like how many check-ins to make sure, because obviously, these are expensive projects for multiple parties. So you want to make sure you get it right. You want to make sure, before you start shipping furniture or ordering furniture. So can you talk about like maybe some of the check-ins as you talked about that process and buzzwords and keywords, and then, inspiration, but like, can you talk about how many maybe check-ins before you're like, all right, let's go?
Yeah. Yes, that's a great point, because I think part of our job and why Sunny would be hiring us is that he also wants it to be easy on his end. So it's like finding that balance of having the right amount of check-ins so that he knows what he's going to be getting, what are the deliverables, like all of that's being agreed upon, but in a way that's not overwhelming, so that, it's not too much work on his end as the client. So I do feel like it's that balance of making sure that everyone knows exactly what's going to be happening in a year, but also us making it easy of like, here's option A or B. If you don't like any of that, let's pivot. Let's try it again until we figure it out. So definitely, I think between emails, meetings, and mood boards, all of that, we know that we're getting a final stamp off. I would say timeline wise for these multifamily projects, we try to keep it under 2 months, if that, for having like a full selection done for something. And again, there's so many projects going on that we want to be able to move quickly, but have everything be unique. So I think we work pretty fast, but in a way that we're excited to get to the next one, because I think we're happy with where we finish with like a project selection.
What about your side, Sunny? Like, who are the stakeholders on your side, and who else needs sign off that you're, is there anyone else you're presenting to, or are you signing off and then heading to happy hour?
So actually, me and Brooke do all the hard work, and then I usually send the final presentation, which has probably been through like 10 revisions, and to my boss, Scott Hobby, and he is like, yes, I love that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess, as you go through this process, what are some, you've worked on different interiors projects around the country. Brooke, you're obviously focusing on doing Industry West interiors projects, but then also working with a lot of sourcing other areas. Well, what are pitfalls people should look out for when working with an interior design service?
Do you want me to take that or something?
Yeah, whoever wants to chime in first. Yeah.
Some pitfalls. I think from a whole, like for us, we never want to overpromise and under-deliver on something. I think that you can see that happen sometimes, especially with lead times these days. And like Sunny said, even seeing something in person versus online does make a really big difference, and we've seen that happen. So I think one of the strengths that our company is offering clients is that we're taking that stress that could possibly be there. Again, I think that flexibility of being able to do an install at kind of a drop of a hat once the client says like the project is ready to be installed. That is something I think has been for us seeing is the biggest like weakness out there in the industry is just like that ready time. So I think we've really locked down a way of like ordering and like just collaboration to get everything ahead of time, not in, too far out where product is sitting there for too long. But I think for us, we've figured out that timeline of needing selections, having things ordered, and then having that wiggle room with the client, with them letting us know when they're ready for it.
So beware people who overpromise is what I'm hearing.
Overpromising.
And sometimes Brooke is like, Sunny, that's in 2 days. That's not going to work. But, honestly, I think that, your flexibility, and I compliment you on this all the time. Like when we had to install a guest room in the model, and my vision was, let's make it a kids room. We've got a ton of families in this area, and she created this his and her child's beds with fun kids stuff in there. And then after a couple of weeks, we realized that there's no families coming into this property, or very few. And she was gracious enough to change out that model to an actual guest room that displayed for roommates, basically, the bed with the desk, and it all looked so great, even though I loved the kids' room. But and I'm thankful for their flexibility and being able to make me happy when I approved of that design, and now we needed to change it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's super interesting to hear that even you can plan and you can plan and you can plan, but until, walls start going up and you start selling units, you really not exactly entirely sure who your customer is going to be. So you have to iterate, which is really interesting. But in your time, I mean, I don't want it to all be like great stories. Like, Sonny, tell us a horror story. Tell us somewhere where in the past, like your previous projects, not Industry West projects, but previous projects that this is something people should look out for. Is it really maybe just the over-promising aspect?
I was at a brand new property, and they provided these outdoor sitting spaces right in front of the leasing office. And the furniture that they chose just kept fading and fading and fading. And then when I called them about it, because I felt like I wanted it replaced, they're like, no, that's just a characteristic of it. The age makes it look better. And I'm like, at a brand new property and age is 3 months later, that's but I was kind of stuck with that, or else had to purchase my own. That's a small
no, that's good.
I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong with new construction too. Especially with supply and demand right now.
Right. So obviously someone is standing by their services and their product, and I'm getting a lot of people really need to understand what needs to go by a pool vibe throughout this entire conversation.
A pool vibe?
Pool. Well, that's the vibe of the conversation. Is
okay.
That we're someone who knows what to do by poolside.
Come live at Corner on Main, and you'll see.
So I guess our last question, because we do have some great questions from the people watching. Our last question for you guys is, what's next for the industry? Do you see it continuing to expand with larger spaces and projects? Is it, because I think in the past, a lot of people saw interior services as mostly residential side, and with one residential unit, someone coming in and helping with a house in the Hamptons, et cetera. So where do you guys see the future of this industry going?
I would say just off the bat, I think
people want to work with a less amount of vendors and communication. I think that like our inboxes are flooded with things. We're all so busy. We want to have more time to create and be networking and like working on projects. And so all of that middle stuff, we're seeing more of a need in the industry to have it condensed in regards to the amount of like cooks in the kitchen, if you will. So I think that for our services, we're seeing specifically is that being able to work with a company that can go concept to install, or if you just need a mood board, or if you just need full installation services, finding that is key in the industry right now. I think that, you know, it gets expensive too if you're working with 5 different companies all trying to do the same thing versus working with one company who can do all of that. So also like the money savings there, I think, of course, that's in the industry. Everyone's looking to save a dollar. So we're really striving to be able to do that for our clients and know that that's key in the industry right now.
Sonny, how about you? Anything?
I agree with that. Do I think that we're going to have larger and larger spaces to work with? Probably not. Land is really expensive these days, but time is valuable and time is of essence. So having that place that you can go in one-stop shop and deal with like 1 or 2 people is, in my opinion, extremely valuable, and it's going to be more part of the wave of the future, you know? So yeah.
Awesome. Well, we do have a few questions that we'll hit here. Brooke, this is for you.
Okay.
Do you outsource your additional services, for example, drivers, installation team, warehouse staff, etc.?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, we can do that. So if something, you know, we're talking a lot about Jacksonville, Florida, and where a lot of our multifamily projects are, but we also do a lot of work on the West Coast. And then we have a project installing actually on Wednesday in Baltimore. So we're kind of lucky that some of our team is spread out a little bit to be able to be a point person for those projects. But yes, we have, again, because we're also a logistics company, we ship furniture all over the country every single day. Our kind of contact list of people that we trust and know and love and respect, they're all over the country. So if we have something pop up in Baltimore, we have a team, like I probably have someone on speed dial who I'm like, hey, like this is like an amazing project. We would love to also support that local community and hire some people that have, you know, professional install experience. And then of course the Industry West Interiors team is always on site. So you have your dedicated project managers that are flying or driving or taking the train to that project. And they're there overseeing everything for the install. So yeah, we do outsource, and it's sometimes it can be tricky depending on the location. But we're definitely lucky that we have quite a large contact list built up across the country.
And I think there's another question in terms of if projects are not close to the warehouse, do we outsource other logistics companies? I mean, in terms of the last mile, I mean, if you want to speak to that piece, but obviously I believe Industry West is still warehousing the product.
Yeah. Yep. So we're still warehousing it and that's also like that kind of assurance that like the product that's ordered for the client, like we have our hands on it the entire time. So it's not getting shipped off somewhere and someplace that we are not familiar with. But yeah, Industry West houses it the entire time until we get that call saying, hey, this is the, you know, ideal install week.
Awesome. So here's a little bit different question. 57-year-old female following my passion and starting a new career into interior design. What advice do you have for me? Cannot afford school at this time, but looking for a place to start and learn under. Any and all suggestions on what path you would take in my shoes would be so appreciated.
I do have something off the bat for that. Yes. I would say if you can possibly get yourself to a trade show, something like High Point, North Carolina, or Las Vegas, New York, and just really like seeing the industry in person. And that is a big dose of it at one time. Wear some comfortable shoes. But I think that that's a great way to network and meet people. And even if you don't have the school experience, I think that getting into a trade show in the US and just being so exposed to different furniture brands and seeing products, and you might end up pivoting on what you thought you wanted to do versus what's offered in the industry. So I would definitely say getting to a trade show would be very, very valuable when you're first starting off.
Sonny, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I want to go to one of those trade shows. Every time she's at one, she starts sending me all these really cool pictures. She goes, I think this will be good for Beachline. And I think this one's going to be great for RT. And I'm like, yes, yes, buy them all. But yeah.
One question we got is, so we talked a lot about, going through the rounds of design, et cetera, with the client. So what design programs do you utilize the most? AutoCAD, SketchUp, are there others?
Yeah, so definitely AutoCAD is a top one. It's really easy, I think, for us to be able to use it and show the client. So even if Sunny's never looked at like a CAD PDF before, he can look at it and know this is the pool for this specific project, and he can really easily see it. So I think from a user client experience, CAD is just fantastic. And then as well as we're always looking for like the best project management. So much of this industry is, and what Sunny does too, like we're project managing all the time. So we have a few different project management tools that we use as well. And again, it's one of those things we're always looking for something better because we want to be quicker for the client. We want what we're giving the client to be the most user friendly. We don't want Sunny having to like call us being like, I can't understand what this is for the install. But yeah, I mean, CAD, also just we'll send, we have, of course, like all of our company branded PDFs and stuff. That's just whatever the client, whatever is best for Sunny or any client to look at, that's what we kind of work with to give them.
And Sunny, on your side as the client, what do you like to see in terms of those documents, and how are you project managing as the client?
Well, recently, one of the situations that I thought about was we were designing the pool furniture for one of our projects, and we wanted to do lots of white and lots of very, very classy, upscale kind of feel. But, white can also be underpowering. And so we were also utilizing some of the key colors that were in the clubhouse. And after going through all of this choices and pickouts, I asked them if they could give me a map and show me where all the white pieces will be and then all the colorful pieces will be, so that we can determine if we want to change that color or move it around. And I thought that was really cool. He had it to me in like 30 minutes. But at the same time, you guys have been so good to me by like, giving me the finishes part of the presentation on the same slide or right before all the furniture choices, so that we can assure the colors that we're picking out and the styles go in line with the amenity or clubhouse finishes, or even the model finishes, because they're all different. So that's really helped me.
Okay, one more question, and Diana, we do have a question about sharing a mood board, which I don't think we're prepared to do right here, but I will connect you with Brooke, Diana, and we'll have her send you one over. But last question, do you ever work with boutique interior design firms with a small team, so like a solo practitioner on behalf of a small or mid-sized multifamily developer, perhaps involved in redevelopment projects? So I think that's more for Sunny. So in the past, have you worked more for more of a boutique firm, or I guess weigh that thought between boutique firm versus a larger firm?
I have worked with a boutique firm that is very local to Jacksonville, and they're awesome. They are great, actually. But this interior designer was perfect for that specific project that I was doing. I do love an interior designer though that can accommodate multiple visions, and in the multifamily, based on demographic and location, you're going to need different visions. You don't want all of them to look the same. So yes, I have worked with those boutique style, and that was enjoyable. Too.
I guess I was wrong. That question is for Brooke as well. So Brooke, if you want to take a crack, I guess, if you have multiple projects and potentially looking to outsource maybe the interior design component of one of those projects, would you consider a boutique firm?
Yeah, definitely. I think we don't, we're growing so quick, and especially with projects, we of course have a dedicated Initial West Interiors team at the company as well. But for a project that we're working on, say in like we'll use Baltimore as an example. If the client specifically is like, I want an ode to Baltimore and historic things and all of that, like that is something that we, we're not based in Baltimore. So yeah, like we would completely reach out to a firm in Baltimore and be like, hey, what are some things that we can incorporate to this project that has that special touch for the final, presentation for the client. So yeah, I think never say never. Our goal is to make sure that the client is really happy and that they want to come back and work with us, and that we're really listening to their needs and not just doing what we think is trendy at the moment or something. It's what is best long term for them, and for like the physical location. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Well, Sunny, Brooke, this was awesome. Thank you for taking the time. Just real briefly, Brooke, did you want to let us know where to find Industry West?
Yes, we are online, Industry West. And then, of course, we have our Industry West Interiors page online as well, that you can fill out, and we'll be in touch as well. We also can be found at interiors@industrywest.com. We also have our physical showroom in New York on Crosby Street in Soho. And you get to see a lot of magic that our interiors team brings to life as well in that space, as well as products there. Yeah.
And Sunny, let us know where we can find Corner Lot.
We're online as well. Or if you just read any business media in Jacksonville, you'll see we're all over that. Jacksonville Journal, but we're at cornerlotdevelopment.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yes, thanks,
Thank
Ian.
you. It's
Okay.
fun.
Bye.
Okay, bye.